are passable, folks. Just take your time when you head on out there. Coming over this morning, the speed limit was about 55, and I would say that is almost perfect for the conditions that are going on out there. Any faster, and you might end up in a ditch. So make sure that you're taking your time. Leave a little bit early. We're almost out of it. We're just about out of this season, and then we can actually travel to our heart's content. Now, this morning, I am joined by Sheridan County Commissioners Tom Ringley and Lonnie Wright. Good morning, Commissioners, and welcome back to the show.
Morning, Floyd.
Morning, sir.
Now, how are you guys faring in this weather? How's the farm?
I was just talking to my friends at the courthouse this morning and saying that my morning has not been too productive because I was stuck this morning in my own driveway. Oh. I'm driving over on a ranch road to take care of some horses, and it was, no sunshine, just kind of flat light, and the wind was blowing and the snow was coming down, and I got a little too close to a drift and fell through the crust, and that was the end of that. So I had to get my wife out to help me. And there's nothing worse than having to ask your wife for help.
Come help me. Come dig me out, sweetheart. Yeah.
Right.
Commissioner Ringley, how about you?
So she's got leverage now, right?
Oh, she always does.
Stop by the flower store before you head home, right. I think, today, huh?
Yep.
How about you, Commissioner Ringley? How's your winter been?
Oh, mine's been fine. But I'm just thinking about all this road and bridge crews out there coping with all this. Just want to give a shout out to them.
Absolutely.
They've just done stellar stuff. So hopefully the worst of it's over, but never say never.
Yeah, I was talking to Lieutenant Jorgensen from the Highway Patrol, and he said him and his team are really looking forward to that break, but they all already know we got a couple good storms left. And then, of course, the big wet spring storms are going to be coming every once in a while.
Yeah. So it'd be good if we get rid of some of the snow we've got.
Yeah.
That happens again.
Yeah.
Some places I just nowhere else to put it,
Right. That's something that I've noticed in the storage areas for snow. It's getting pretty dang full.
Yeah.
You can only really stack that stuff up so high.
Right.
And in one instance somewhere here in town, I saw one of those large snow piles pushing back on one of those chain link fence so much that they're going to have repairs to do come spring. I guarantee it. It's just
and then there's piling up in the mountains, right?
Absolutely.
Someday he's going to go somewhere.
Yeah. Matter of fact, that's something that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So stick with us, folks, on that, because when it comes to the spring thaw around this neck of the woods, that can be a concern. But first, let's talk about our plow county operators. How are they doing? How are they holding up? Have you gone down and spoken with them a bit or heard word?
I've talked to Rowdy Branson, Road and Bridge Supervisor. He thinks they're holding up pretty well.
Good.
He runs a pretty good ship. He's kind of a good leader, and they all have a good attitude. So it's trying for them, but they're hanging in there. We're proud of them.
It's one of those jobs where you just know I'm going to be busy. It's Wyoming. I'm going to be in that plow early in the morning. It's the early morning crew along with the plow operators. There's Trevor. I think he gets there about 3 a.m. in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they're out there trying to get the roots plowed for school, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hats off to them. We're proud of them.
Yes, and thank them all for everything that they do for us. They keep the wheel turning, quite literally. How are things out at the airport during this time of year?
Well, I've actually flew out of there a couple of weeks ago. I guess it's about 3 weeks ago now. And I was telling some of my friends at the courthouse I learned way more about de-icing fluid than I ever really wanted to know. The day I left, it was 24 below.
Oh, wow.
The de-icing fluid is only good down to 19 below, so we had a little bit of a delay so it could warm up a little bit so they could actually de-ice the plane. But it's not anybody's fault. That's just the way it is,
Yep.
So anyway, I think they're doing great. We actually had a meeting out there a few days ago and went for a little walk around tour of the expansion of the baggage area and the new ticketing area of the airport building, the terminal building, the expansion they're doing, and it's going to be really nice. It's going to be just a beautiful, beautiful facility when they get complete. I think maybe end of April, beginning of May, they're talking about having it complete. But
Oh wow, so they've come a long way.
oh yeah.
I think the end of April they're looking at, but there may be a slight delay in getting the carousel in. That might be the last piece. That
Yeah.
might be sometime in May, but it's looking really, really good. People are
Yeah.
going to really like it. It's going to be a proper airport and good traffic flow for the people, inside the terminal, and it's a major improvement.
Now, speaking of the major improvement, when we walk into the airport, if it's been a while since we have flown out, when I walk in, is it going to look completely different? I mean, is it almost like we ripped the lobby down to bare bones and then just
Pretty
kinda
much,
built it back up?
The previously the ticketing counter was kind of you walk in and you kind of faced it, but now it's going to be off to the left, I believe, the way I understand it. So trying to, like Tom says, maximize the traffic flow, walking the pedestrian flow through the airport, making sure, this line is not in the way for people trying to get their bags while they're trying to check in to go on the next flight. So just thinking about flows of people, when it is busy. So,
Commissioner Ringley, you've been around for a while. You've been paying attention to that airport for quite some time. Do you feel that these improvements will help to draw more people to fly in and out?
I don't know if they'll draw more people to fly in and out, because people have been flying in and out regardless of what the terminal was like. Really, we're at maximum capacity almost on all our 12 flights a week.
Wow.
But it's just going to make it a lot nicer for those that do. I don't think anybody's saying, hey, I'm going to fly to Sheridan because I think they got a terminal improvement.
Yeah, that was the deciding factor right there, right?
I want to go.
But if you do come in, you're going to think, man, this is really nice.
Yeah.
If they want to come and see a really cool baggage carousel,
yeah,
we're going to have one.
Yeah, exactly. Brand new, folks. Yeah. Brand new. Well,
so it's going to be good.
It's really good to hear that they're that close, and
Right.
it sounds like by middle of summer, probably they'll be well
Full
into
up.
operations of the new equipment, kind of working bugs out. Because how things gone with the installation of that large? I think it's a large X-ray machine that was put in.
Yeah, I mean they use it. It's being used.
It's being used
Oh yeah.
currently.
No, all the bags that go out go through that machine. Actually saw it the other day. They were working above it, and they had it covered up with tarps to keep dust and dirt from or anything else from dropping on it, because I think it's a pretty delicate instrument, and they're taking care to protect it. So that was good.
Oh,
to see.
absolutely. I think it's because of the size of that thing,
Right.
that everything kind of kicked off in the first place.
Well, they kind of had to get it in place before the construction really started, So everything's happened around it. But, but it's there and it's working, and it is a big piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, and it's good to hear that by midsummer, hopefully everything will be going pretty easily. Now, with the onset of spring comes the need for road repair. Do we have a schedule that we like to follow here in the county? That laugh.
Oh my goodness. I wouldn't even want to guess no one's seen, I haven't seen gravel on my driveway for months now,
Yeah.
it seems like. So I can imagine what it's going to be like once we do get a thaw, and some of the gravel roads out in the county are definitely going to need some attention. I know, just looking at, some of the state roads and some of the city roads, we've got some pretty good potholes starting up. All the water's gotten down in and popped everything out of either a previous repair or a chink in the armor of the road. So I don't know that there's a schedule. I'm sure our road and bridge folks have something in mind.
Now, when it comes to like a dirt road, and I do realize that none of us in here is a trained engineer for when it comes to roads, but if we take our time, once the spring thaw really kicks in, we can help prevent that washboard effect that takes place. It's when people travel on these roads at high speeds and they're muddy that washboard begins, correct?
Yeah.
So when they go to slow down, I always think
Yeah.
when they slow down, that's what
Causes
makes
those
the
divots.
washboards. That's what I've always thought, but I don't know for sure, Floyd. Like you say, we're not trained engineers. But.
Now, we don't really have too many miles of county road to maintain, do we?
Only 500, 600 miles of county roads.
Are all of those?
About 26
Are paved.
miles are paved.
Okay.
Rest are
All the rest
gravel.
is gravel.
Has there been any voice concern over the paving as of yet?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
Nothing that they want to
No.
get to work on right away.
No.
The Highway 87 and 14, do those fall strictly under YDOT to maintain those highways?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
Now, does YDOT approach you with the repairs that are going to be done on that, or do they just kind of go out and get those finished?
They just take care of it, whatever their program is.
So you guys don't have to give any kind of approval or
No.
okay.
No.
Now,
That's not to say that there's not some coordination required if they're going to do some projects on a
Right.
state highway that can affect the county. There's a lot of conversation and coordination that goes on. So
Now there's, lots and lots of county roads that dump onto those state
Yeah.
roads. And so coordination would always be a good thing to have, I suppose.
how quickly or how closely have they worked with you or updated you on the Manchester Bridge project that's going on?
I don't know that that's just something that's happened. We haven't really had an input
Okay.
into it. It's just a YDOT project that they're doing.
Now, if folks do have a concern with something that's happening on 84 or 14, or in the instance of that Manchester Bridge, it's not the commission that they approach. They would have to go directly to YDOT.
That's true.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we don't get input, maybe from citizens
Yeah.
that get passed on to YDOT. The
Right.
engineering department might get some complaints and they'll pass it on to YDOT. So, but basically, it's a YDOT program.
A completely YDOT operation
Right.
going on out there on those roads. Now, recently, the Sheridan County Commission ratified a letter of support for YDOT, an application for a RAISE grant. What are the details around this RAISE grant? And I do believe it's called the US 87 YO 335 Caffeine Avenue project. What is that?
That's a project that I thought was delayed until, talking to the YDOT folks, I think it was delayed till 2027 or 2028, depending on, like everything else, what money is available
And how things pan out.
and how
yeah.
things shake out. I think because of some maybe grant money that might be available, I think that letter went to our Secretary of Transportation to try to, I don't know, maybe jump us up in the list a little bit. I don't know if that's exactly the terminology or the way to look at it, but that project starts, I believe, at Sheridan College and goes all the way to the junction where 335 takes off towards Bighorn. And it's going to be from the college to basically the bridge on Little Goose. It's going to be 2 lanes each way and a turn lane in the middle. And then from the bridge on, I believe it's 1 lane each way with a turn lane in the middle.
Oh, fantastic. So they're going to be widening that a
Big
bit.
time, yeah. And the from the college down to basically Woodland Park, they've already widened out that and put new water lines in, widened everything out. If you'll notice, if you ever go that way at home, the fire hydrants are like 40 feet off the road where they would normally be right close to the right-of-way. They're way out there, and that's why, because they're going to widen that out. So.
Oh, wow. So that's kind of a sign for us if we ever see fire hydrants heading out.
And I think the letter to the Secretary of Transportation was to try to maybe speed that along a little bit instead of waiting until 2027, 28, maybe 2023, 24. I don't know.
Fingers crossed, right? Yeah. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of projects here within Sheridan and Sheridan County. Mm-hmm. I know that they're getting ready to kick off the big Main Street project,
Right.
and that's going to do a lot here.
Oh, and Floyd, another part of that big project, or another big part of that project is the bridge. They're going to replace that bridge on Little Goose. So it's going to be obviously wider and bigger, and across it, the part that crosses the creek is going to be wider, so maybe a little bit less flooding potential.
That's always good to hear.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, it's going to be interesting navigating south out of Sheridan.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There might be a couple
It's
detours.
been done before, and they have detours and whatever. Big project, but in the end, it's probably needs to be done.
And so folks who live out south there might want to consider maybe either finding alternate routes or because I'm sure, the detours that they make are usually pretty good.
Oh, yeah, they'll figure it all out. They've done it before when they had detours, and we all went through that several years ago. So it'll all work out. It'll be inconvenient, but hey, you got to get the work done. So.
Absolutely. These roads, they can only get so old, and only so many potholes can be filled before it's kind of like the broom, right?
Right.
You replace the bottom of the broom, and then you got to replace the top of the broom. Is it the same broom?
Well, eventually you got to replace the handle, right? So.
That's right. All right. On that, we're going to have more with the Sheridan County Commissioners when we return. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE, 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize this week's winner of $1,000 cash and a $1,000 marketing donation match from Sheridan Media. As part of their community commitment, Lifelink of Sheridan County is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website efirstfederal.bank for details. First Federal Bank and Trust and Sheridan Media present Community Commitment. Member FDIC.
Find Atlas Chiropractic at their new location, 41 East Burkett. They're still offering the same great service to all new and existing patients. If you have aches and pains or debilitating back or shoulder conditions, call Dr. Colin Hardy, 672-6000. He can alleviate your pain, reduce your physical stress, and boost and maintain your immune system function. With each adjustment, your central nervous system is supported and strengthened. Call Dr. Hardy, 672-6000. Schedule your appointment with the top chiropractic clinic in Sheridan, Atlas Chiropractic, now at 41 East Burkett.
This is Dr. Colin Hardy with Atlas Chiropractic. Be sure to ask us about our new patient specials. Take the first step to a better you. Call 672-6000. That's 672-6000. Your healing begins when you pick up the phone.
There's a lot of different kinds of springs. There's the kind that you wind up tighter than 2 coats of paint. There's the ones you pull apart and they spring back, and there's the kind you push together and they bounce back. And there's the kind of spring that is time to get your 4x4 side-by-side tuned up for the year. Just call Hendo's and Joe will spring into action. Heck, he'll even come and get it. Tune it up, fix it up, even rev it up. 4x4 spring tune-ups at Hendo's Service Center on Sheridan's Heartland Drive.
Time for new tires? Your timing couldn't be better because Midas is rolling out the best deals on top-rated tires. Buy 3, get 1 free with installation on Cooper and Hankook tires and up to $100 mail-in rebate. Midas also has big savings on brakes, shocks, fluid flush, even save $20 on an oil change. Check out the Midas ad in the Country Bounty for details. Roll into Midas before the end of the month for these big savings. Midas Tire and Auto on East Brundage Lane in Sheridan.
It's your last day to spring into action and bid on the Spring Into Savings online auction at SheridanMedia.com. Place your bids, gift certificates to Sheridan Custom Stone. We have movie theater passes, dog boarding and training, day spa certificates, a pivoting ramp system for your truck. We've got restaurant certificates, retail store certificates from Sheridan and Buffalo. Browse your items, place your bids. The Spring Into Savings online auction at SheridanMedia.com ends tonight at 8 p.m.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, proudly brought to you by First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. This morning, we are speaking with Sheridan County Commissioners Tom Ringley and Lonnie Wright. Now, with the influx of funds this year, Wyoming lawmakers were able to put $1.4 billion with a B into savings, splitting the amount into two separate funds. Direct distributions were not at risk this year, but all too often, they are an option to cut. Commissioners, do we know if any funds were actually added to the amount of direct distributions?
Yes, they have. They added 26% or something like that. It boiled down to, I can only talk in local terms, we used to get about $1 million from direct distribution. Now we're going to get about, I think it's 1.8, so about $800,000 extra.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so, yeah, they added to it, and, we're grateful. We're trying to do good things with it.
Yep.
Yeah, so it didn't seem to be a point of contention this year like it has in past years. It always passed, but there was always some serious discussion about reducing it or cutting it in some quarters. So it's pretty stable right now, and we appreciate that.
Now, with the amount that's gone into savings, looking into the future, have you sat with the thought that maybe it won't be at risk for a couple of years at least, or is that something that you want to stay on your toes about and look over the wall towards Cheyenne just to make sure? Even in the good years. Yeah,
I would never want to be presumptuous and say that don't want to take anything for granted.
Yeah,
Yeah. But things being what they are, looks like for the next 2 years, well, it's a 2-year thing anyway. Mm-hmm. So who knows what the future is going to bring? But my impression is with the extra money they're putting in savings, it's going to allow the Wyoming legislature to be a lot more even in the out years when things aren't so good. That's the whole idea, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that plays out. But right now, we're not talking about being threatened by having direct distribution cut. So.
And it's actually good, I think, that they added a little bit. That way it gets kicked back. Even though the city of Sheridan does pretty good on its own. Right. Speaking with Mayor Rich Bridger, he has said in the past it wouldn't really hurt us that much, but what it would hurt are the smaller communities in the county.
For sure. Yeah. I mean,
well, that's always the case. And I can't, I've seen the numbers of their increases. I can't remember what they are, but it's going to help them. It's still small. Small towns and communities have a real problem getting major projects done. They end up having to save up for 3 or 4 years to do something that's kind of crucial. So I don't think this will solve all their problems, but it'll be better than it was.
Yeah. Are there techniques or strategies that we can use up at the county to help some of these smaller communities in times of an emergency, water line break or something like that within their infrastructure? When they approach the county, is there a fund that we can draw from? Or
Lonnie, you want to answer that?
I'm thinking.
We don't have a contingency fund to. That's not to say that we wouldn't step up and try and figure out a way. But usually they kind of work it direct, like their water problem they had of the wells. I think they went direct to the state.
Yeah, they kind of.
And I think Dave Kinski, Senator Kinski, was involved in that. So they kind of worked it that way.
Yeah,
because they are an independent municipality. Yeah. So they're not a substructure of the county. They're a municipality. Yeah. So they work it that way, but that's not to say that if there's a huge big problem came up, county wouldn't step up and really be interested in trying to help out, whatever that might be.
However they can,
Yeah,
right, right.
Now, how do we usually use our direct distributions at the county level? I know I'm asking you to kind of dig back into your budget memory here, but what are the ways that we like to spend that money?
Well, Lonnie, did you?
I was just going to say, I think it can be used for just about anything except
payroll,
benefits, and employee benefits. So it gets spread out far and wide.
It becomes part of our general fund, really.
Okay, so it kind of goes to a little bit of everything.
Right.
Once that shows up, do you put that directly into general?
Yeah.
That savings account, I guess we should say.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on the session this year? As the you've got something. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. What are your thoughts on?
My fellow commissioners and I went to the breakfast meeting yesterday. It's called Eggs and Issues.
Yeah,
and all the legislators were there. And it was actually Harriet Hageman was there, and it was a really good, informative talk that we got from all of them. They all got up and spoke and answered questions. I think everyone, including all of the people who spoke, were disappointed that the one major thing they went to Cheyenne to do was to do something with property tax relief, and they did get something. I think they did some minor things, but the big, giant kahuna that everybody was looking for to give everybody relief did not come to fruition. And a lot of bills, I think there were 21 bills that had something to do with property tax, and they all died a terrible death, it sounds like.
Problem is there aren't any quick fixes, because every proposal out there in some way is affected by the Constitution, So you're always talking about a constitutional change, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2/3 out of state, then it has to go before the voters. So it's, there's no quick fix. And I would say, I was reading some comments on Sheridan Media the other morning on property taxes. There's one person says, well, the governor could take care of this with a stroke of a pen and just reduce it. And I thought, thank God we don't have a system where a governor can do that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a big misunderstanding, because I've seen somewhat the same thing. I saw somebody make a comment that, well, if they wanted to, they could just write this off, and they can't. Matter of fact, I'm not saying that those bills
unconstitutional,
tried, but exactly. when a lot of those bills went up, like you said, Commissioner Ringley, all of a sudden, you can't do that. It's literally unconstitutional. And to change the Constitution, we got to go to the voters. You can't just do what we want. The system is in place for a reason. And I agree with you 110% on that, Commissioner, when you said, I don't want to be part of a system where they could do that.
They could in Venezuela, maybe.
Yeah, maybe in some other place, but we have a constitution that must be followed.
So it's cumbersome, and it's kind of inconvenient that you can't do things really quickly with a snap of the fingers and offer instant relief. But that's the way it is.
And that's the way it's meant to be. It's meant to be difficult to change things.
Yeah.
And I guess the way I understand it, the thing that did go through, which is a change in the Constitution, is to add a fourth category for for property to be taxed at, and so that is what is going to get voted on. Then they have to come back and actually do something with that category.
Now, so that's got to be written.
Yeah, this vote is just to break that residential property out of the other categories, so it's by itself, and then the legislature has to come back and then actually do something with that category, which might be another 20 bills. I don't know.
Well, it very well. I imagine it probably will. I'm sure everyone who's got an idea, and I'm sure some of those bills that did die this year, once that gets changed in the Constitution, well, now I can just take that bill that I proposed a couple years ago, rewrite it, and bring it forward once again. And it is a long, slow process to change the Constitution.
Yeah. It's complicated.
And like you said, Commissioner, right, for a reason. So people can't just go in there and kind of do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the short-term solution or the short-term strategy to helping people with these property taxes, we've got the Wyoming property tax refund program.
Yeah.
Is our treasurer planning on having an influx of folks come in and grab those applications?
I was talking to I wasn't talking to the treasurer, I was talking to the assessor the other day. I kind of asked him about, well, they've had this program for some time. Are people using it? And the answer was yes.
Yeah.
They have been using. I don't know the numbers, but I think the Treasurer's office set one day aside and dedicated one person to handling applications.
Yeah.
So I think we would expect to see an influx, an increase in people that apply for that property tax refund.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I really do think that the more people that can apply for that, the better. Mm-hmm. It's not a it's not a handout.
Right.
It is a refund program. You've paid into this, and the more you use it, the more we're showing Cheyenne how needed this relief really is. Yep. Because that's what they're going to be looking at. Mm-hmm. They're going to be looking at how many applications came through, how many made it all the way, how much money did we have to hand back. Right. We really need some property tax relief. And so I would encourage anyone out there who even believes they may be eligible to head on down there and fill out one of those applications.
Yep.
Because this is really a technique that we have to show Cheyenne how bad the situation has gotten. Not just for relief, but to really show them how bad it is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there anything that the commission would have liked to have seen get done during session that just didn't outside of those property taxes?
I can't. The property tax thing for me was numero uno. So I'm sure there's other things. I just can't think of what they would be right now, Floyd. So
there's a lot of stuff that goes on. You kind of wonder about. Sometimes a legislator will have a little local problem in his constituency, and somebody will come to him and complain about it, and then all of a sudden it becomes embedded in state statute, and the solution has to be complied with by everybody, right?
Yeah.
When it may not even be a problem every place else.
Yeah.
A good example is they just passed a law, statute that says if you are a subdivider, if you want to subdivide some property in an area which is adjacent to land that could be grazed, then you have to fence the subdivision.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is
it seems ridiculous to me, but
it was probably a problem in one place where some guy's cows got into somebody's backyard,
right?
Or something like that. And now we have a law that's statewide where everybody has to comply with this, and it's just kind of nuts, I think. But it has become law, and so our planning and zoning folks are. We got to adjust our local rules and regulations to accommodate that, and we will.
Yeah.
But I would suspect there'll be some challenges to it.
Yeah, legally.
Yeah.
You think some folks are going to take that to court?
I think people would be asking for Attorney General's opinion on interpretation and whatever. But that's a big deal. Let's say you do a big 80-acre subdivision someplace as a developer. You got to fence the whole thing.
Gosh, that's going to be a penny. That's good. Yeah.
So that's like, well, we'll see where it goes. And I'm not moaning. I'm just saying that sometimes local problems get
mountains out of molehills, right?
Yeah, well, it might have been a mountain in that particular county where it happened, but to change the state statute so everybody has to do this seems to me a bit not quite the right way to go. I wish they'd solve more problems locally is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. Local solutions for local
make it
problems.
Into law, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Anyway, that's just one little thing that always interests me.
Well, absolutely. I would agree with you 110% on that because that's one thing that I've always kind of, stick local. You get too far past local and we start getting into a quagmire of other issues and other opinions.
Right.
So you stick local and those problems are solved right here at home. Then I think it's a much better solution for everybody involved. All right, we're going to continue with our Sheridan County Commissioners when we come back. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize this week's winner of $1,000 cash and a $1,000 marketing donation match from Sheridan Media. As part of their community commitment, Lifelink of Sheridan County is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website, efirstfederal.bank, for details. First Federal Bank and Trust and Sheridan Media present Community Commitment. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Colton Bates with the Bates team at Best. While more isn't always better, when working with a real estate team, it certainly can be, as each agent has a specialized role. Working with a team also offers a ton of flexibility. For those that are seeking a primary agent to build rapport with, the other agents can act as a support system. The opposite is true for those focusing on 24/7 service. A team of pros balancing their respective roles is the easiest way to accomplish this. So start working with the Best today and choose the Bates team. Call us at 675-BEST and visit bestwy.net.
Proudly brokered by EXP.
Champion Funeral Home is dedicated to providing compassionate and personalized service to your families. They provide support, personable care, and affordable prices to Sheridan and Johnson County and surrounding areas. Champion Funeral Home has been family-owned and operated since 1911. They will comfort you in your time of need and provide your family with a meaningful tribute to your loved one. Contact Champion Funeral Home at championfh.com or call 674-6369.
Shan Foster with the Country Pet Inn talks about dog training and behavioral issues that dog owners may be experiencing.
If the dog's not listening to you consistently and with distractions, it's not trained. And most people say, well, my dog's trained. It can sit, it downs, it comes when I call it. Well, what about when Joe Squirrel runs by? What about when that semi comes by honking its horn? Well, those are the things that I train for in real life. Most of the time, it's all through basic obedience. Now, by doing that, you take care of a lot of the behavioral issues, shyness issues, aggression issues, possession issues. When you put that dog in that mode, or the dog understands its role, a lot of those things go away. Whether your dog has obedience issues where it doesn't listen to you or come to you when you call it, stealing food from the table, excessive barking, aggression issues, you name it, we'll work together to solve it. I help people understand their dog. I'm very fond of that. If you want to get a hold of me, go to countrypetin.com or call 674-8582.
Wrap Plumbing and Heating has been serving Sheridan since 2010. With all these years of experience, you can rely on them to handle all of your plumbing and heating needs. From new construction to remodels, repairs of existing systems to retrofitting, Wrap Plumbing and Heating can do it all. They are professional, clean, and courteous. Call 429-1196 for all your plumbing or heating needs. As we like to say, if you find a leak, let Dan take a peek.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, proudly brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. This morning we're speaking with the Sheridan County Commissioners, Tom Ringley and Lonnie Wright. Now, real quick, Commissioner Wright, we were talking about this during the break. Let's talk some announcements that you would like to give out this morning, and this one's kind of a big deal.
For sure, Floyd, thank you. With Mother Nature having the power to just kind of flick us with her index finger and knock humanity out of existence, we know that depending on how the snow melt comes, whether it comes nice and easy and nice and slow like we all hope, or catastrophic heat wave, we wanted to announce where there are going to be sand and sandbag stations set up. Excuse me. One of them is at the Sheridan County Fairgrounds, where it always is. The City of Sheridan Service Center on Crow Lane, the Fire Hall in Story, the Fire Hall in Bighorn, the Sheridan County Shop just off a short road, Ranchester Town Hall, and the Dayton Town Shop. So those locations will have sand and sandbags, and I know Jesse, our emergency services coordinator, is the other day I was speaking with him, and he actually had some volunteers that were going to pre-fill some bags and have them on pallets. But you never know how much to do. You don't want to have them filled and then not need them, and then they deteriorate, and you got a bunch of useless sand and sandbags. So he was going to do some and have them made. So that's a good thing, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what. When I was in the Wyoming Guard, we were on a couple flood details. I've been sent to kind of the four corners of the state during 1 year or another to help out with these floods that happen. And one thing that I learned in all of that was, if you suffer from flooding on your property, get them up early, and you can never have enough. Don't be afraid to get out there and get yourself the ample amount of sandbags that you need and build those walls. These things work. I've watched them work multiple times. So take advantage of this situation, folks. If in years previous you had a river running through your property, now was the time to prepare. I do realize there's still a lot of snow on the ground, but as you said, sir, one good heat wave, and that could change. And it's amazing how fast it can change in just a day.
It does, and people, we know we know which areas flood, and the people that live in them obviously do. If they're there sometimes, so there's no reason not to be as prepared as you can be.
Absolutely.
But the other side of the sandbag deal is you're absolutely right. But then flooding's over and summer's here and you got all these sandbags.
Now what do I do? Yeah.
That's always a chore, but know, it's a necessary evil.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And so I would just encourage folks to head on down there as soon as they possibly can. Even if you just fill a couple a day and pack them back to the house. Who knows, in 2 or 3 weeks when everything starts to change, you might be set, ready to go.
Right.
Just kind of make that one of your stops in the morning or the evening. We've got that list out there. I know we've got that up online right now at SheridanMedia.com. So if you need a refresher, feel free, jump on there, folks.
And it'll be on a county website as well.
For sure.
Absolutely. Now, when we spoke with Emergency Management Coordinator Jesse Ludikows, is he talking about a lot of potential flooding this year? Did he bring that up?
It just varies so much year to year. I think the potential is here this year, maybe more than normal. Just the amount of snow down in the valley and then the snow up on the hill. It's all, Mother Nature's writing the book.
Yeah.
We're just here to watch. So
it's her world. We just live in it.
That's right. That's right.
Gosh, I was thinking about it was 2 years ago. How long did it take into the summer until I could get up on the mountain? And I got to thinking about it. I think it was in late May. We had a friend come over, and I wanted to kind of show off the Bighorns a little bit. We drove up there. Still 3-4 feet in some areas. So I could only imagine what that area looks like right now.
Yeah.
With the amount
Lonnie can probably tell you. You've been up there.
I've been up there. I was stuck up there, Floyd. So
what does
Lonnie's
it look like
always
up there?
getting stuck.
I seem to get stuck a lot this year.
I know who not to traipse around with.
Oh dear.
How does it look up there, sir?
Oh, there's where I was up near the cabins, just up above Red Grade, and I'm going to say there's 4 and 5 feet of snow up there in places. Yeah, on the level. Yeah.
Wow, almost like a kind of an average in that area.
Well, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And all that's going to come down that mountain at one point or another.
Yes, sir.
Now, moving on, let's take a look at any open positions within the county that we might need to get filled. Do we have any job openings that you know of?
Well, we've had one replacing our administrative director, Renee Obermuller, and I would suspect that next week we'll have an announcement.
Is she retiring?
She's retiring end of June.
And that's always really tough because that's one of those positions where so much knowledge.
18 years worth.
My goodness. When it comes to the administrators like that,
right,
they're the ones who really pushing the papers in front of you. The ones who help explain everything and kind of
keep us on track.
Keep everybody on track. Yeah. And so I want to thank her for years of great service and helping to run this county, really.
So we've timed it so that there's going to be really good overlap between the new person and Renee. So they'll be able to take advantage of Renee's knowledge, and she'll be really cooperative and getting the person lined out and as well informed as she can. But eventually they got to take it over, and there'll obviously be some bumps in the road because there's just so much. But anyway, we're hopeful. It's been a good process, and it's going to work out. Next week, stand by.
Okay. And now that announcement hasn't come out just yet.
No, it will come out early next week.
All right, fantastic. Are there any openings on any boards?
I think we're all full up right now, Floyd, on the boards.
Yeah, we have. We've just made a few appointments, so I think we're good.
Yep.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. If people wanted to keep an eye on that, they can go to Sheridan County website.
Yes, sir.
And you've got a listing of all the boards that are on there. I've been around there quite a bit. Right. So as we end the show today, I just got a quick question. What are you looking forward to most in this spring season, Commissioner Ringley?
Getting rid of all the 3-inch ice in my driveway. And in my backyard, I don't know where all this stuff is going to go,
Yeah.
So that's a challenge for everybody. But I'm looking forward to some sunshine and green grass, being able to see the green grass.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all going to happen. It always does.
Yep. Yeah.
Commissioner Wright.
I would ditto what Tom said. The green grass, I mean, that means that the mower needs to come out pretty soon. But I actually enjoy mowing because I can get a lot of thinking done then.
Yep.
So.
It's like a meditation.
It is, yeah.
It's a moment that I actually really enjoy, too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting that ice out of my yard as well. Lake Whiting is out there right now, and I need to figure out what to do with it.
Right.
Commissioners, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
Thanks
it's
for
always
having
a
us.
pleasure,
Thank you,
gentlemen. All right, you've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize this week's winner of $1,000 cash and a $1,000 marketing donation match from Sheridan Media. As part of their community commitment, Lifelink of Sheridan County is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website efirstfederal.bank for details. First Federal Bank and Trust and Sheridan Media present Community Commitment. Member FDIC.
This is Dan Marshall with Captain Clean. While dirty ductwork and carpet doesn't necessarily mean unhealthy air in your home, school, or workplace, they may be contributing to larger health issues or harboring contaminants that could cause serious problems